All right, do the parties stipulate to the presence of the jury?
Yes, Your Honor. Yes, sir.
Okay. And I guess the plaintiff will be calling his next witness, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor. Plaintiff's next witness is Ginger Land Van Buren. Morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Raise your right hand.
I do solemnly swear the testimony you are about to give in this action shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help you God.
I do.
May I restate and spell your name for the record?
Ginger Land Van Buren, GINGERLAND hyphen small v AN space big B UUREN.
Thank you.
Morning, Ginger.
Morning.
Can you tell the jury where you grew up?
I grew up in California, Southern California, and when I was about 7 or 8, we moved to a little farm in Oregon, just south of Portland, called Malala, home of the Malala Buckaroo. Was our claim to fame.
And are you currently married?
I am to my husband, Chris Van Buren, who is from South Africa, thus the two U's.
How did you and Chris meet?
I was singing on a cruise ship we've been married 15 years, so about 16, 17 years ago. I had been living in New York City performing and had always wanted to do a cruise ship contract so I could travel for free. And was lucky enough to get on one of the very exclusive small ships that actually have an opera show on it. And he was the casino manager at the time.
And do you and Chris have any children?
We do not.
Who lives in your household with you?
My mother lives with me part-time and my sister part-time. She's a snowbird. So that's who. And then I used to have 2 dogs. Now we have 1. I am a human-seeing dog, whatever you call that. I have a little blind dog now. So yes, he lives with me.
You mentioned your mother living with you. The jury's heard your mother is also a plaintiff here, Cheryl Nally.
Yes. She travels back and forth, and unfortunately, when I got sick, we had called her to come down a little early, and she also came into the household and started drinking the water.
Can you tell the jury what you did after high school?
After high school, I went to community college and was waiting tables as a singing waiter, and then eventually got a scholarship to sing and at Portland State University. I was actually going to be a lawyer. I'm kind of happy, especially after this, that I didn't do that. Although I was thinking for years that I probably should have, because I would have made more money, but that's all right. I had a good path. And then so I ended up singing. I love musicals, but I ended up starting to sing opera. I had no experience with opera, but I had this really rare voice, which is a coloratura, which is a very, very high coloratura who sings the high Fs. You will see her as like the queen of the night. And it's sort of this crazy, high, flexible voice type that is kind of rare. So I had a lot of success and was able to graduate, get a master's certificate in opera performance. Super useful. And then went on to New York City and performed and did movies and theater and all kinds of stuff there for about 17, 18 years.
So I do think we have about a 10-second clip of you singing opera so we can let the jury understand better what you were just talking about.
All right. That's not me. Oh, there's me. Oh, that's the Queen of the Night. Yeah, there we go. So that role actually, I made my living on, this is a few years later, but when, yes, I'm hypercritical, sorry. Yes, it was very good, wasn't it? I'm not gonna pick it apart.
Impressive to us.
Sorry.
When did you move to Las Vegas?
About 15 years ago.
And what brought you here?
My husband, he is in the casino industry, and so when we met, I was living in New York. He came to visit me. We decided to get married and moved to New York. And I knew that like Las Vegas was probably going to be our home at some point. But about a year and a half after we got married, he got a good job. And I moved out here with him because I love him. More than I love New York. It was a close tie. Sorry.
I prefer Las Vegas to New York as well. If that, what do you do for work currently?
Currently, I work for the Biyashiro Foundation. I had been a volunteer with them for about 7 years now. And during COVID, I couldn't work at my other job anymore, where I was the Senior Vice President of Marketing and Promotions for Mixed Media Entertainment. And they were kind enough, they knew that I had been sick, and so they were kind enough to they needed somebody, and we sort of slowly ramped up my position, which I created with the organization. And now we serve a lot of young people here in the city who have been affected by trafficking. So we do emergency services, yeah.
And what is the Bashiro Foundation?
So it's our mission is to provide support for girls under the age of 25 who have been affected by trafficking with emergency housing, resources, counseling, medical, hygiene, basic needs like that. And then we also have an education program where I go out in the community and I spread trafficking awareness and share red flags. And I do that with community groups, businesses, and parent groups a lot. And then kids themselves in school with some empowerment and good choices.
Is it a nonprofit organization?
It is a nonprofit.
And what is your role currently with the
I am now the executive director.
Tell the jury a little bit about your personal life. What kind of things do you like to do in your spare time?
When I moved here, there was no opera, so I found my peeps, and I started what was then Sin City Opera. I founded it, and then about 5 years ago, we changed it to Vegas City Opera because we were doing a lot of educational stuff. So that's what I do in my spare time for the most part.
Let's talk about why we're here. When did you start drinking real water?
Sometime in 2017, 2018.
And what attracted you to the product?
It was touted to be super healthy, really filtered. The pH was supposed to be super healthy for your body. And first time they called, we had some other service, and so we didn't take it. And then they called again and offered us like $1 off a bottle for 3 months or something. So I decided to switch and give it a try.
And you're referring to the home delivery?
Yeah, the home delivery.
Did everyone in your family drink real water?
Everybody.
In the fall of 2020, did you start to feel very sick after drinking real water?
I did.
When?
Yes. I remember sometime after my birthday, October 13th, like probably 10 days afterwards, I started not being able to remember words. I started to not be able to have the functionality. It would take me a long time to think and process a text, and typing would be more difficult. And I didn't know what it was. And so, just sort of carried on, talked to my husband about it. And it wasn't until the end of October that at the time I was helping out my goddaughter, and I was picking her up after school a couple days a week. And I was in the car with her. And I remember thinking, I need to pull over, and I didn't. I need to pull over because there is something wrong, and I cannot see, and I cannot make decisions. And I drove home. It's not very far. It's only about 4 miles from her school to our house at about 20 miles an hour because I was like, I don't think I can drive anymore. And that was the moment when I was like, there's something really wrong. And I had her in the car, and I regret that decision. I made it home fine, but that was a moment that I realized something was very wrong.
Did you go to the doctor?
I did. I went to our general doctor at the time and had some blood work done, and they couldn't find anything wrong that made any sense at the time. So
Did the doctors tell you to just stay hydrated?
Go home, eat well, get rest, hydrate, all of the things that you normally do. She thought I might be stressed out. It was that COVID time. do, just kind of take some walks, that kind of stuff, live a healthy life and see what happens.
Did you continue to drink real water?
I did.
Did you continue to feel worse?
I did.
Did there come a time when you went to the emergency room?
Yeah, sometime in like 10th of November or something, I woke up, I think it was on a Friday, and I told my husband, you have to take me to the emergency room because I think I'm going to die. I knew that there had been something so bad and nothing was getting better, and the doctor didn't have there's nothing that we knew, and I would have a day.
Ginger, I apologize.
Page conference?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick recess here. Admonished not to converse amongst yourselves or with anyone else on any subject matter connected to this trial, or to read, watch, or listen to the report of the defendant on this trial by any person connected to this case, or by any medium of information, including without limitations, newspaper, television, social media. Remember the social media prohibition, and last but not least, we're not formally expressing any opinion on any subject matter connected to the trial that will cause harm to this case. We'll take a quick recess.
All right, so report to adjourn.
You want to relax?
But I haven't had that happen. Okay, I'm ready for it. Yeah, I'm ready. It would not be a good thing.
All right.
Please.
All right, do the parties stipulate to the presence of the jury?
Yes, Your Honor. Yes, sir.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have one of the panel members who's a little bit under the weather. I just want to let you know that. And so we have to continue on, and we're making sure her needs, both from a health perspective and emotionally, are being taken care of. Just want you to understand that. All right, and so it's my understanding we're going to continue on. Is that correct, counsel?
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Lan Van Buren, can you take the stand?
They did already.
Oh, okay,
I'm like, who are you? Hi. Look, everybody. Where did you come from?
No, thank you, sir.
I am.
That's okay.
Whew.
And thank you, sir, for your help. Okay, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. And thank you, Ginger, for the
Oh, yeah.
break. I'm sure you can understand the health of the jurors is paramount
Yes.
in any situation. Okay. So before the break, we were discussing your first trip to the emergency room. Can you continue to tell the jury what was happening at that time?
So I told my husband that we'd been going back and forth on how, like, you're sick, I know, we don't know what it is. And I just told him that day I knew I either went to the hospital or I was gonna die. And so he took me to St. Rose Hospital and checked me in. We waited for quite a while. They did some blood work and things on me, and they couldn't figure out what it was. They asked him, they were very concerned about how much I drank and if I was a drug taker and all this kind of stuff. And then they asked him, and then said even they didn't admit me, and then said that I should see a neurologist, get on some Prozac.
Were you having neurological symptoms?
Yeah. So, because at this point, it just got worse from I could no longer text. I could no longer type. I was losing words. I was losing function in being able to move. I was having out-of-body experiences and sleeping a lot. Just super tired. Couldn't do anything.
Now, is this the time that you call your mother?
Yes. So I checked in, and no, it's fuzzy. I think shortly after that, I came home, got on the Prozac. They told my husband to check the house for alcohol that I might have hidden, which I had not, and to keep a close eye on me, and to drink, be healthy, rest, don't be stressed out. I made this appointment with a neurologist to start seeing if there was anything wrong with my brain, because I had started to develop headaches a couple of years before, and I was having a lot of headaches during this time. And so they wanted to see, they still didn't know what's going on.
Let me ask you, Ginger, was it offensive to you when the doctors were blaming alcohol use on this?
Very offensive. And then to send my husband home, and he didn't. I mean, he didn't look, because he knows me. We spend all of our time together. So it was very frustrating as well to have that be the reason, or that I just was stressed out.
And did you continue to drink real water during this time?
I did.
Did you continue to feel worse?
Yeah. And then I basically came home and everything got worse. I stopped being able to function. I was sleeping all the time. I stopped eating. I basically lost myself in this time. So I stopped, I would call it living out of time. So I would have no idea what day it was or what time it was for hours of my life. And then I would kind of have some sanity back. So I peed myself on the couch, peed myself up in our bedroom, and my husband was like, well, that for an adult makes you really realize that, like, there's something wrong. So we had gone back, we were waiting to see the neurologist still, and we went back and got more blood tests from my regular doctor, my primary care doctor, and she said she took some tests and she thought I had a contracted gallbladder or something about that was showing up, and she wasn't sure. I didn't have a lot of pain, and I was just like, I was swelling. If you see pictures of me, I'm very swollen at that time, and I didn't have any sensation. Like, I lost the ability to feel my hands, and my brain was not connected. So I would have to say, like, if I wanted to pick something up, I'd have to go like, see the thing and go brain, move arm. And it would take me a very, very long time to be able to do anything. So I also stopped being able to drink water myself. So I sort of had to have somebody help me have that. So I had to have it right next to me on a straw so I could drink water, or eat food. I'd have to have something that was very easy because I was forgetting how to chew.
Shane, can you please pull up Exhibit 330, page 8? And at this point, Ginger, you go back to the emergency room.
Yeah, so I don't remember going to the emergency room. I lost, I think, at least 2 days before I went into the emergency room completely. So, yeah.
This is the record from your emergency room presentation, and it says, so we're on page 8, Shane. Yes, critical. The patient presented in critical status due to acute liver failure. So at this point, November 18th, you were back in the hospital. You're in acute liver failure. Correct? Was it your understanding you were in critical condition?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. Did they take blood work in the hospital?
They did. Yeah, and All I know, all we knew originally was that, from my husband telling me, was that when I came in, I was not doing great. I was very, very bad. And so they kind of rushed me into the back and started all of the stuff that they do when they take your blood and, see what's going on. And they very quickly wanted to put a main line. I think I was calling it I think it's a main line.
Okay, we'll look at that in just a minute. Before we get there, let's look at your blood work.
Okay.
Shane, can you go to page 7 of this exhibit, please? So here they do their blood work, and you see your bilirubin 9.8 high, ALT 267 high, AST 1499 high, ammonia level 81 high, lactic acid is exclamation point. Did your doctors discuss these results with you?
They did after I was out of the ICU. I have no recollection. I don't remember being in intensive care. I think I woke up in intensive care, and then they moved me into the regular care like 2 days or 3 days afterwards. I feel like I kind of remember that, but I can't really process what happened or when that was.
Let's look at your INR numbers. Shane, can you pull up page 11 of this exhibit? And so for your INR, which is your coagulation, what your blood's ability to clot, you had results of 8.59, 11.39, and greater than 27.
Yeah.
You were here when Dr. Hudson testified to the jury, correct?
Yeah.
And he testified that in his nearly 4 decades of practice, he has never seen an INR this high. It's off the scale. Is that hard to hear?
Yeah.
Dr. Hudson also testified that when you have this kind of emergent problem, they treat it by giving you blood transfusions.
Yeah.
Did you have blood transfusions in the hospital?
Yeah. I don't know if my husband knew it was that high, but they were so concerned that's why and I don't know if you know, it's not something they want to do. It's a very dangerous operation. You have to have a loved one sign off that they know that you can die by getting this PICC line. So my husband it was basically move forward or it was death anyway. So he said it was tough for a moment to realize that I was in that spot, that it was either this or goodbye. So they put the PICC line in me, I guess, and I was having convulsions. So the blood had splattered all over the place when they did the PICC line, and was confusion, and he didn't realize that they were very concerned about the blood everywhere. And I only know this because when I got out of the hospital, he had this pair of jeans at home, and it had my blood all over it, and he wouldn't let me wash them because he was afraid it was going to be the only thing left of me. And so it was a very traumatic experience for him, and to hear him say how difficult that was in that moment, I don't remember it. So, but having to know that he had to go through that.
Shane, can you pull up page 9 of this exhibit, please? Dr. Hudson also told the jury about MELD score and how that plays into treatment of a patient with acute liver failure and whether they're being evaluated for a liver transplant. This note, it says, this patient has a remarkably elevated MELD score that portends a very elevated mortality risk over the next few months. Is that your understanding that you had a very elevated mortality risk because of all this?
Yes, actually, when they admitted me, they told my husband they were putting me on the transplant list. And it was either that night or I think it was early the next morning that they called him and told him that and somebody called him from Loma Linda or wherever it was, because that's where I was going to go, and they were planning on sending me out the next day or the day after as soon as possible. But he had to get like this 2 hours worth of questionnaire filled out and of all of my background and everything. So he had worked on that and done all of that. And they were making arrangements for me to go to Loma Linda, and he was putting his work life in order and all of that kind of stuff. So he could go out there with me.
Shane, can you pull up Exhibit 325, please? Ginger, can you tell the jury what this is a picture of?
That's me in the hospital after I was moved from intensive care to, I forget what you call regular general hospital care. And I think that was one of the first times I actually got to eat food.
And
my husband.
you were in the hospital from November 18th to November 23rd, correct?
Yes.
How were you feeling when you were discharged from the hospital?
It was right before Thanksgiving, and I really wanted to be home for Thanksgiving. My mom had been in the hospital. She came out of the hospital the same day I went into the hospital. And so she was at home recovering. We had called my sister in to help the family. She had not been feeling well and ill at home. Our dogs had been put into a kennel because they had gotten lethargic and weren't eating anymore. And everybody was sort of at home doing better. And so they said, if I could walk around, if I could make 2 laps on this little section of the hospital, then they would send me home because they wanted me to go to occupational therapy, like an outpatient occupational therapy, because they're afraid I wasn't going to be able to walk up the stairs at home and do the things that were necessary to feed me and do all the things because I was too weak and not able to connect my body and my physical body and my brain yet. But my sister was here in town, and so they decided that if I could do this thing, I could go home and spend Thanksgiving with the family.
Shane, can we go back to Exhibit 330 and look at page 3, please? Just want to look at your discharge diagnoses. At the bottom, hospital course, acute liver failure, hepatic encephalopathy, jaundice, coagulopathy. These were your discharge diagnoses?
Yeah. Yes.
After you were out of the hospital, did you continue to drink real water?
Oh, I forget that I had respiratory failure. Sorry. Yeah.
After the hospital, did you continue to drink real water?
I did.
And did you continue to feel sick?
Well, I was very sick, so I continued to feel sick. They sent me home with medication as well. It probably helped save my life because it was something you had to do that helped get your liver back in shape. And so it was this clear liquidy stuff. And I had to take that for, I think, at least 30 days when I got home.
Did you continue to seek follow-up care?
I did. I saw my GI when I was out of the hospital. And then I saw another doctor, which I thought was my brain doctor, but it was actually my liver doctor. No, wait, did I have that? Yeah, for quite a few, like several months. I had to see everybody like 30 days after, and then 3 months and 6 months or something like that. So there was a schedule.
Shane, can you pull up page 16 of Exhibit 330, please? This is a follow-up appointment on December 9th, and it says that you're still having difficulty articulating your words, slow motor control, confusion. This is still going on weeks after your discharge from the hospital?
It still goes on.
Still today?
Yeah.
Were you able to work during this time?
I was not.
How much time did you miss of work?
About 6 months, I would say, roughly, of just not being able to be functional or having the energy to be functional. And I was still learning to to do all of the things. It took me several months to be able to walk on my own and walk at a normal pace. So getting from shuffling just a few steps to fully walking like around my little cul-de-sac area.
Shane, can we pull up page 19 of Exhibit 30? This is a neurologist note dated October 12th, 2021. So this would be almost a year after your hospitalization, correct?
Mm-hmm.
It says, she's been having a lot of anxiety for the past 2 to 3 months. She wakes up in the middle of the night with severe anxiety attacks.
Yeah.
Were you having a lot of anxiety related to your illness, even at this time?
Yes, I still do. I am on a antidepressant, and I am on a anxiety medication as well. They changed my anxiety medication to one that also helps with headaches, because I still have the headaches that I developed a couple years prior, which can be, if you get migraines and a sinus pressure headache combined, it can be pretty debilitating. And then I get what I call a Jimmy leg, which is I get this overwhelming like sense of uncomfortableness and muscle ache in my body, especially at night. And so I take a low-grade muscle relaxer sometimes too.
You mentioned you were convulsing while you were in the hospital.
Yeah.
Did you convulse a lot in the hospital?
I have no idea.
How did you feel in terms of your body after the hospital?
I must have, because I had to go to physical therapy afterwards because my shoulders were all jacked up. So I had to go to physical therapy once I could walk and stand on my own to sort of get that realigned in my body. I went and got some massages because my body wasn't, I was still really, really puffy and just holding extra water weight all the time. So I got some lymphatic drainage, massage kind of things.
Have you had regular follow-up appointments to monitor your liver enzyme and liver function tests?
I get blood work for a while I was doing it every 6 months. Now they said that I need to get it every year at least, just to check and make sure that that is happening. Also, to eat a liver-friendly diet and an anti-inflammatory diet. And then, like alcohol, fried foods, and sweets. Like those are the 3 things that I need to stay away from. Super moderation. Try not to have no more than one of those things. And it does. So there's this whole new Bible to live by, just to be super cautious and clean and healthy.
And have your doctors expressed concern to you that you could have problems in the future related to your liver damage?
Yes.
Did your husband Chris drink real water?
He did.
Did he get sick?
He did. He was vomiting and diarrhea. He was also leaving the house every day and working, so I think the amount of water that he was intaking was less.
And you testified about your mom coming to help take care of you.
Yeah, so Mom came in, and I think maybe a couple of days after coming to our house, she started getting she started getting confused, and a little agitated, and she was throwing up and had diarrhea.
When she came to stay with you to help take care of you, she drank the real water in your home?
She did.
And she was sick in hospital?
She got sick, yeah.
And you mentioned your pets. They drank the real water?
They did. And they stopped eating, and they stopped being able to get up and walk around on their little selves. They're little chihuahuas, so about 10 pounds.
Shane, can we pull up a demonstrative one?
And we didn't know what to do, but we knew that I was sick.
Are these your dogs?
Yeah, that's Louis on your right, and Jean-Paul is on the left. They're our fur babies. We didn't know what to do, and I wasn't able to lift them or take care of them or do anything. So we thought if we put them in the kennel and kenneled them for a while. And they seem to be doing better after that. They were never the same. After this experience, Jean-Paul has pancreatitis and he's blind now. And Louis developed a lot of ailments and died within the next year. But
Did your mom bring her dog with you when she came to stay?
she brought Buckley with her, and we had to put him down while she was in the hospital.
Did Buckley drink the real water?
He did drink the real water.
Buckley got sick?
Yeah, he got sick. He got sick and he disoriented and he didn't know any of us, and he was kind of getting aggressive, and then he would go and hide in our backyard behind the trees, and he slept out there one night. My husband tried to go get him and he was really aggressive with him, and we finally got him and we took him into the vets, and they said that he was in liver and kidney failure and we should really put him down.
Shane, can you pull up demonstrative 3?
That's Buckley in the middle.
When you're sick, your mother gets sick, did you call your sister to come help take care of you both?
I did. We have a great family. My sister came out and she instantly got sick. She was throwing up. And during this time, we, were like, something in this house is killing us. There is something in here. So my husband went and called and got somebody online to come into our house and checked our tap water and checked the air and checked for mold and checked everything that they can possibly, because we were obviously like there was something that was happening, and never ever thought to check the bottled water ever. Not even the guy that was there who was checking everything ever thought to check the bottled water.
You heard Dr. Hudson testify, correct?
I did.
You heard his recommendations for all the plaintiffs, including you, to continue to get your liver function monitored because of the concern of future problems related to your liver damage.
Yes.
Is that something you intend to do?
Yes.
And you've already been doing that, haven't
I
you?
have been, yeah.
And that's been at the suggestion of your treating physicians, right?
Yes.
You testified about your fears and anxiety. Did you ever see a psychologist?
I did not. I'm fortunate enough to have a lot of people. I work with a lot of therapists and counselors. Not that that's the same, but I do have a lot of good people and tools at my use that I have incorporated into my daily life to help me deal with the amount of anxiety and stress that my new reality creates.
What about your cognitive functioning? Is your cognitive functioning are you still struggling with that?
I do. Like I said, I used to be the senior vice president of a big entertainment company, and we worked with Celine Dion and Rod Stewart and all these great people. I love my work. It's very fulfilling and it's important, and I love it, but it's not at the same degree. And I don't think I have the faculty to go back in, and that's one of the reasons I work from home. I can take a break in the afternoon if I need to. If I have a headache, I can let everybody know that I need to lay down for a little bit. And so I'm very fortunate that I can do that, because not everybody gets to do that. And I love to sing, and so when I moved here, I helped found Vegas City Opera, and I have tried every tool available to me to get back to what I love to do, right? We all have something we love to do. And I call it the stickiness. I can learn music, I can sing music, I think I'm still pretty good, but I can't get the memorization core, I can't get it locked in. And that means that I can't actually perform like a role on stage. So I can't actually sing in a role without a piece of music in front of me. So now if it's 5-10 minutes, if it's a new piece, I have to do it on the score, which is okay, because there are still opportunities for me. And the people that I work with still are like, use your book. It's fine, Ginger, it's a concert. But I'm mostly stuck to concert work now.
And are you familiar with Dr. Sand's recommendations for all the plaintiffs?
I am.
And given his recommendations of future psychological and cognitive evaluations and care, are those things something that you're interested in following up on?
Definitely.
Thank you, Ginger.
Okay, thank you, sir. Cross-examination.
Thank you, Your Honor. Stephan, your deposition was taken in this case.
Yes.
Do you recall when it was taken?
A few months ago.
Year? I think it was like October 31. I think it was Halloween.
Okay.
Okay. That was in 2024. Was your attorney present with you?
Yes.
Court reporter present.
Yes.
And you were sworn to tell the truth, just like you're testifying in a court of law today.
Yes.
But you had an opportunity to review your deposition in the book,
Yeah,
and did you make any changes?
I did not.
All right. I'll ask you some questions, sort of some background. You had a master's certificate in opera.
Yes.
Is that what that was? And,
At Belcanto Northwest.
I'm sorry?
At Belcanto Northwest. It was they were trying to get a full master's program going through the Portland Opera, and it never really succeeded, so it never really got through past the certificate stage.
All right. And I thought the thing that you worked for, the company you worked for, the nonprofit, I thought it was a play on words. It was Be a Shiro. Is that how you're supposed to say it? Or you don't say it that way?
Be a Shiro Foundation.
Okay, all right. So you came out here to Las Vegas when?
Roughly 15 years ago.
Okay, and at that point, your career as an opera singer, you had retired?
I knew that there was no opera out here. Opera is national, international, so I knew that my ability was going to be limited, but I was still auditioning. I was still singing. But
Right.
that's why I founded Vegas City Opera here, because also we didn't have one.
Right, but you're not doing opera due to something with real water. You had retired when you moved out here 15 years ago.
I had not retired. I was still singing.
Okay.
The pay was different.
Right. When you get paid, when you don't.
Oh, I still get paid.
Again, so you're still doing opera.
In the limited amount that I can perform, I am still singing opera. And I still get paid for it, yes.
You're not making a lost wage claim, are you?
I'm not.
You also work for a company called Carrot Experience. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Right, and that, I think you mentioned, that's marketing and public relations for the entertainment field. Is that accurate?
Yes. I had started my own company a few years ago. I have a lot of friends that had wanted my help because I used to be very good at what I did. And so I work for some organizations like the Las Vegas Sinfonietta, a little payroll company that wanted my help in figuring out how to write press releases and PR. And I'm still pretty good at it.
You're still pretty good at PR?
Yeah,
What does PR stand for?
public relations.
Shifting to real water, did you ever notice a funny smell with the real water you drank?
I did not, my husband had.
How about taste?
I had not.
How about, did the water ever look bad to you?
No.
If it smelled, tasted, or looked bad, would you have consumed it?
Yeah.
Okay. You talked about your husband. Isn't it true that to the extent your husband felt sick, he had already had GI problems.
He had
What is a GI problem?
gastrointestinal tract stuff, so he was already, he took a Prilosec, I think that's what it is. Does that make, I
Sure.
don't know, it's one of those things that if you have too much gas or something, yeah.
Well, he was already taking Prilosec.
Yeah.
I think your testimony was he took an extra one. Is that correct?
Yeah, yeah,
All right. Now, you first got sick in October of 2020, is that accurate?
yes,
And that's when you were experiencing brain fog,
yes.
and that's when you went to the hospital the first time?
I think it was in November was the first time, early November, like the 10th or 12th or something.
Okay, and then you went a second time in November as well?
Yes, that's when I was admitted.
All right, so the first time you went to the hospital, it wasn't this issue dealing with your liver, it was sort of cognitive issues that you had going on?
The first time?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
And I think you said in your deposition they wanted to send you to a brain doctor?
yes.
All right, and that's a neurologist?
That's a neurologist.
Okay. During that period of time, you were taking supplements, is that accurate?
Yes, I had taken something for, I had maybe started menopause, wasn't sure, and I was feeling really sluggish, and I had some brain fog, and so somebody was like, oh, you might be in menopause. Why don't you take one of these, Estravir or something? So I went to Whole Foods, read a bunch of boxes, met with the lady there, and I had gotten a couple of things to try.
All right. And then I think you also mentioned during your direct examination you'd had headaches and you were taking medication for migraines. Is that accurate?
Yes, roughly 2 years or so before I started to get migraines, and then progressively they just got worse.
And when we say 2 years before, we mean 2 years before the issue with real water.
Yes, actually now that I know that there was hydrazine in it the entire time, I would say, before I had been suffering probably from the onset of initially drinking real water, those headaches.
I know that's what you're saying. The doctor ever diagnosed you having?
No.
Okay. All right. So you were taking a migraine.
Sumatriptan.
Say again?
Sumatriptan.
Okay. And I appreciate this is stressful for you.
Yep. Oh, sorry, I'm supposed to wait till you. And
Yes,
I interrupted
ma'am.
you just now again.
That's all right. It's totally understandable. The migraine medication you're taking is how do you say it?
Sumatriptan.
Sumatriptan. And are you particularly in tune to your health now based upon this experience?
I try to be much more in my body and knowing what's going on, yes.
And are you aware that that particular migraine medication has side effects like most medications?
Yes.
Okay, and those side effects would include drowsiness, tiredness, and slow and different speech.
Yes.
And you were taking that before you went to the hospital in October and November of 2020?
Yep, as needed.
Okay. All right. I want to talk about your visit to the emergency room. I think you're correct. I believe it was on November 8, 2020 at St. Rose. You weren't admitted, correct?
Correct.
All right. They did some blood testing at that time.
Yeah, I'm sure, yeah.
Did you tell them about the migraine medication and the pre-menopause supplements you were taking?
I take sumatriptan when I need it, and so I get a headache and I take that medication. But I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Will you let me know a little? Yeah, can you restate like exactly what you want?
Sure. When you went to the hospital, you said you were having the brain fog the first time.
Yeah.
Tell them about the supplement, the
Oh.
medications that you were on.
The supplement is actually for cognition. It was supposed to help you have more energy and be more clear-headed. Because I had been suffering for that month trying to figure out what was going on, and so I thought that might have helped. Those like, I don't know, I can't remember what was in it, black coash and something else that's supposed to give you some energy and make you think, I don't know, it was for clear thought and energy. It obviously didn't work.
Okay. I'm sorry, I didn't make it clear. When you went to the hospital that time with the brain fog, did you tell them you were on the supplements and the migraine medication?
Your Honor, can we approach? Your Honor, we already have summary judgment on causation. This is irrelevant. I've let it go on, but it's continuing and continuing.
No, it's not irrelevant. It's part of her medical history, and she's testified about it. She said that she was having brain fog and taking a supplement. She said that she had migraines 2 years before. When she goes in to get treated, I'm simply asking her, did she disclose that to her doctors?
Okay. She was diagnosed with hepatic encephalopathy. That's related to liver failure caused by real water, which is summary judgment.
Here's my question, and it's really simple. From a causation perspective, whether she was taking the supplements and or medication for her migraines, how is that relevant? And here's my point. Do we have expert testimony from an independent alternative causation perspective as to her brain fog being caused by the supplements and or the migraine medication?
To answer your questions, we don't have that, Your Honor. But what we do have is this witness testifying under oath that she had brain fog. Pretty sure she can testify to that because she's been testifying it for quite some time now. And that she was taking migraine medication years before this incident occurred, which she admitted has those side effects.
Right.
They had an expert to say that any of this was related to some unknown migraine medication or supplement. They would have presented it, and there maybe wouldn't have been summary judgment, but they don't have that.
No.
And that's why there's something that we do have an expert who says it's all related to hydrogen in real water, and that's why summary judgment was entered, and that's why this whole line of questioning is irrelevant, and it's just gone too far at this point.
And they don't have an expert testifying that her brain fog and headaches existing 2 years before this showing up at the hospital is related to real water. They don't. It all starts in November. This witness has testified that she's had these experiences well before then. So no, they don't have a doctor stating that.
So I'm sure your expert can come in and say that this is all related to supplements.
I understand counsel doesn't want his own client testifying about her condition, but this is
I
certainly.
mean, ultimately, this is my point. What is she relating to real water? What does the expert relate to real water?
Our expert?
Yes.
Hepatic encephalopathy, which is confusion, brain fog,
And
exactly everything that she testified to.
And she's stating that she's been having these issues years before. Their doctor does
Well,
not
I think
relate
what
it
she
back
said
to
was she'd
years
been
before.
drinking real water during that time period. Here's my point, and it's real simple. As far as whether the brain fog and or migraines were caused by another either pre-existing health condition or some other form of medication or exposure, we'd have to have an expert to tie that up as an independent alternative causation. Just as important too, that expert would have to opine to a reasonable degree of medical probability. And that's Williams, right? That's the Williams case. We can all agree, right?
Agree.
Yeah. So, in light of again, at the end of the day, she can testify to a lot, and there's no question you didn't object earlier. But we have to look at it from this perspective. If we're going to opine to or argue independent alternative causation, there has to be an expert to opine to a reasonable degree of medical probability. And that's the law, right? So if the objection is based upon irrelevancy, I'm going to sustain the objection.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. And gentlemen, thank you. The objection is sustained. We can move on.
Let's talk. Oh, and then didn't you also get COVID in 2021?
I did.
Have you had any CT scans since October of 2020 of your head?
No.
How about an MRI?
No, I have not.
How about any diagnostic imaging of your head, explain your brain fog, et cetera, since October of 2020?
No, I've only had scans for my mammograms that have come back since then with some strange growths on them.
Are you blaming that on real water?
I don't know what the cause of that is, nor do I know what the cause of my irregular pap smears are now.
Well, let's talk about your blood work then. You indicate that you still get blood work related to your liver, is that correct?
I do,
And how are those?
all within normal levels.
It's good news, correct?
I'm alive. That is my good news.
Well, let's go through some of your medical records, see if you find any more good news. Could you pull up Exhibit 330, please? And Robin, let's go to page 17. And this is a discharge summary. I believe it's dated April, if you zoom that date, I think it's April 6, 2021, there at the top right. Okay, do you recall going and doing a follow-up there at Dignity
Several.
Health? I'm
Yes.
sorry, at Dignity Health Medical Group in April of 2021?
Yes.
Okay. You have a past medical history of depression, is that correct?
Nope.
This is an error.
That's an error. My family does. I had been the months before and after the event depressed. The first time I ever was given any kind of antidepressant was in November, when the first time I went in and they put me on Prozac. Was never on any antidepressant medication in my life before then.
Okay. But when you went into the hospital, you would agree that you had this liver dysfunction that was so significant that you were being considered for a liver transplant, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Did they give you any update on, since that dire diagnosis at that time in April?
That I was not on a transplant list.
Could you drop down, Robin, the history of present illness and highlight from in the hospital of liver dysfunction down to the word baseline, please. Do you recall the doctors telling you that very quickly everything resolved after the giving, how you pronounce that, lactulose, and now you're back to baseline? Do you recall that?
Yes.
Okay. Could you go to same exhibit, page 18? And at the top, would you note the date, if you can find it? It's office and clinical notes. I think it's August 10, 2021. Do you recall going back for follow-up during that month?
Yes.
All right. Do you recall that your liver functions had returned back to baseline at that time?
Yes.
Could you drop down to the history of present illness? So at this point, could you highlight where confirming that testimony, her liver functions have returned back to baseline? A little bit further down. There you go. All right. Do you also recall them telling you that you know what amity problems are?
No.
It says amity problems that started November of 2000 and cleared up completely in May of 2021. Did you ask about that?
No, nor did she. I don't think she talked to me about them.
Okay. Also states that you're working part-time with no problems. Is that accurate?
I could only work part-time.
With no problems, is that accurate?
No. I mean, I could work.
All right, so
So
no problems.
I was still,
is
she had
accurate.
given me lots of brain work to do, and I was still actively doing them. So I would learn new games, new skills, and so we were actively working on, and when I would check in with her, she would still give me new tools to use. So she also knew that but I was able to go back to work.
So do you recall them telling you that your liver functions were back to baseline, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you do recall telling them that you were working part-time.
Yep.
You don't know what the word amity is about, correct?
I do not.
Okay. And then do you recall your lab work from your primary care physician in January 2021 were normal?
Yes.
All right, we can go to the next page of that exhibit, 330, page 19. That is dated October 12, 2021. Recall seeing the doctor at that time.
Yes.
Do you recall the doctor saying that your liver problem that started in November of 2020 had cleared up completely in May of 20, I think it's a typo, 21?
I knew that I think at this point she had said I only have to start coming back yearly to get my liver checked, my blood work done. Yes.
And then, and maybe this clears it up, down at the bottom of the history of present illness. She says here, now she is working time with no problems. Were you working full time at that point?
I think I was working pretty much like almost full time, 3/4, like 30 hours a week, which is, it's not full time, but yeah.
Okay. Then it noted down there, please, I think it needs to note that she has a strong family history of depression. Did you tell them that?
Yes, I told her that I do not have depression and I never have, but that I know that because I have family members that are depressed and we've talked about what that feels like and what that looks like. So I had never had that, but when I started to have depressive thoughts and wanting to not exist in a certain way anymore because I was struggling, I knew that was a sign because of the family members that I talked to that I needed to be aware of that and I needed to pay attention to that and I needed to seek treatment for that.
All right. So towards the end of your hospitalization, you were told that your vitals looked good at that point, correct?
Sorry, what year? What day?
Sure. When you were in the hospital, I think you said you were there five days. Towards the end of that treatment, you were told that your vitals looked good at that point, correct?
Yes, I was well enough to get out of the hospital with multiple medications and go home.
You were told that your vitals looked good, correct?
Yes.
Okay. You were told that you were not going to need a liver transplant, correct?
Yes.
And you haven't been back to the hospital since that second trip to St. Rose, correct?
Thank God, no.
You testified after the hospital you were not able to eat and hold down foods. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Those symptoms resolved by January 2021, about 2 months.
Yes.
You reported that you were jaundiced as a result of your illness. Is that correct?
Yes, very yellow. And they sent me home with something that would help clear out my liver and was supposed to help with the jaundice. So it took a while to leave my body completely.
Well, again, that resolved by January 2021. Is that fair?
Oh, that I wasn't yellow? Yeah.
And that your vomiting resolved at that same time as well?
Yes.
All right. You reported some respiratory problems, is that accurate?
Do you know, honestly, yes, yes, I did. They were, I think, a secondary to everything else I was experiencing, so,
Sure.
yeah.
So you couldn't recall exactly what respiratory symptoms you were experiencing, can you?
Yeah, I had some in the hospital, and pretty much they had cleared up for the most part. I had hard time. I had to sort of get my body back to working, and I think it was along the struggling to walk and having enough energy to stand up on my own and breathing and yeah. So are you asking if it had cleared up by January?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, for the most part.
So other than outside basic allergies, you're okay as it relates to respiratory issues?
Yes.
Okay. All right, when you were in St. Rose the second time, you were introduced to a gastroenterologist named Dr. Reddy, Reddy.
Yep.
And you saw that doctor only one time, is that accurate?
Yeah, he wanted to see me, and then he sent me and said that the gal, Dr. Mehta, was going to take over and continue my care from there.
All right, do you recall them doing a liver panel for you?
Is that a blood thing?
I think so.
I think so too. I'm going to say yes, if
Okay.
that's a blood thing.
Can we go to 330, page 21, please? All right, I need one more page over, please. It's 21. Okay. And could you blow up the top corner so we can get some foundation on when this occurred? Mr. Buren, this is, I believe, is that the doctor's name, Gotham Reddy?
Yes.
Right, and this was a comprehensive metabolic panel that was collected on, looked like January of 2021. And could we drop down to where we can see the AST and ALT scores and then highlight those, please? Were you aware that's what your AST and ALT was in January of 2021?
He was happy enough to just, I didn't know what exactly numbers we were
Yeah.
aiming for or
I didn't
whatever.
either until we
I'm
started
like,
these
until
things.
all of this, I'm learning all of this as well. I knew that they were well enough that he was wanting me just to stick with Dr. Mehta and my follow-ups there.
I think the reference page means this is sort of the range you want to be in, 10 to 35, 6 and 29 on AST and ALT respectively. And you see those are well within those ranges.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Did you ever treat with a neurologist after your hospital stay?
I think Dr. Mehta is a neurologist.
I think he's a liver guy.
It's a she.
Oh, I'm sorry. I think she's a
I think
liver.
I thought, yeah, I'm,
Oh, it's okay.
so many doctors at the time. Yes.
know. My
No,
notes
I
say-
just saw Dr. Mehta, whatever she was. I saw her and just think my continued care.
All right. Did you ever end up seeing a neurologist related to your symptoms?
I did not.
And I believe you treated with a liver specialist named Dr. Mehta, correct?
Yes.
All right. And your treatment with Dr. Mehta consisted of a couple of office visits?
3 or 4, 3 at least.
And the last follow-up visit, at least as the time of maybe your deposition, was in August 2022, is that correct?
Yeah.
All right. You haven't seen that doctor since August of 22, the liver specialist?
I have not. I just am in my primary care's care.
Right. Dr. Mehta, the liver specialist, released you back to your primary care physician, is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
Yes, yes.
Okay,
yes,
it's
it is.
okay. For ongoing treatment, all you do now is have an annual checkup to make sure your liver enzymes are at the proper levels?
Correct.
All right. At the time of your deposition, you testified you had not been treating with a mental health provider, is that correct?
Correct.
Has that changed?
No, I still am not seeing somebody specifically for just my mental health.
Okay. And that's been.
Besides my primary care that prescribes my my antidepressant.
All right. To your knowledge, were you ever given a liver biopsy?
No. I mean, to my knowledge, yeah, correct, no.
That's okay. Can you identify anything that you're no longer able to do today that you were able to do before October of 2020?
Memorize items, complicated items.
Right, but you would agree that there's nothing that you were able to do before October of 2020 that you're not able to do now. It's just a little more difficult.
No. I cannot seem to memorize complex items and get them to stick in my brain, even though I employ 5 different tools to do it and try.
Recall testifying in your deposition that when you were asked if you were able to do anything that you're no longer able to do, that you're able to do today, that you were able to do prior to October 2020, you said no. It's just much more difficult. I was a professional opera singer, and to memorize new music is incredibly difficult for me to do.
Yes, and I will just expound on that and say it is incredibly difficult, but now I also have not, since that, I was hoping at some point I'd be able to get off and get to a place where I could memorize off of the score and perform something in the manner that I used to, and I am not able to. And it is not because of my singing ability, it is because I cannot get it to stay in my brain. And I have tried several times between then and now and had not been able to be successful at it.
Right, but that seems to be a little bit more broad than memorizing opera music. Would you agree?
As in, yes, it,
So when we took your deposition, it was limited to opera music. Now it's something more expansive.
no, I would say the most difficult thing that I still have to do is to memorize music in a foreign language, understand what the language means, put it into my body, and act a sense of it. So all those things combined are different than memorizing a short mission statement or something, or a presentation. So it's a different level of activity that I am not able to still do.
All right, and you'd indicated that when you go once a year to get a checkup with your primary care physician, they check you for other things other than simply your liver, correct?
They do an entire blood panel.
Okay. So other than that, you have no current treatment related to real water consumption, correct?
Outside of making sure that I'm on a liver-friendly and, what's the word? Inflammation, healthy diet.
Lay off fried foods, things of that nature.
Fried food, alcohol, sweets.
I'm talking about medical treatment currently under.
I mean, your diet is a recommended medical treatment from your physician.
But I understand other than your diet, you're on no current treatment related to real water consumption, correct?
Correct.
All right, and you've had no relapse in your symptoms since November of 2020 hospitalization, correct?
I have not had to go back in the hospital, correct?
All right. So in summary, you didn't have a liver transplant, as was the fear, correct?
Correct.
The last time you treated with a specialist for your liver was in August of 2020, and that was a follow with Dr. Mehta, correct?
Yeah. 2021 with Dr. Mehta?
I thought it was August of 2022.
22, okay. What date were you? I think I misunderstood your question.
It's very easy. I could have made a mistake. Let me go back to my.
I thought you said 2020, so I was like, isn't it later?
No,
than
I
that?
think your treatment with Dr. Mehta, your last visit was a follow-up in August of 2020. So I'll make a representation that I believe that to be true, and if that is true of the date, August 2020, that was the last treatment you had with a liver specialist.
Didn't I? With Dr. Mehta, I saw her until at least 21, 22, didn't I?
Right, I'm saying August of 2020.
You said August of 2020.
No, ma'am, I'm pretty sure at this point in time, I said August of 2022.
I missed the two. That's why I was so
That's okay.
confused. I'm like, I don't think you. Oh, yes.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's
yes.
okay.
August of 2022. It is.
All right, getting back to the summary. Now you need to have a liver function tested once a year, correct?
Correct.
No current treatment other than what you testified to. Your nausea is resolved, your jaundice has resolved, correct? Ms. Van Buren, I appreciate your time. Thank you, ma'am.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right. No, I don't think so. No jury questions? All right. Ma'am, you may step down.
Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for lunch. You're admonished not to converse amongst yourselves with anyone else on any subject matter connected with this trial, or to read, watch, or listen to any report or commentary on the trial by any persons connected with this case, or by any medium of information, including without limitations, newspaper, television, radio. Remember the social media prohibition. And last but not least, do not form or express any opinion on any subject matter connected with the trial until the cause is finally submitted to you. And this break in 1:30.
1:30, Your Honor. All rise for the report of the jury. Jury's clear.
Okay, thank you. All right, and so for the afternoon, we have more live witnesses, or?
Yeah, John, we have one plaintiff left, and then we have, which is Malley, and then we have Ms. Thorne's video and Goldsmith's video, and then I was gonna suggest that the defense play an hour-long video there.
Okay.
We've got a 42-minute and a 6-minute, but I think if we have the time, we can get done. We don't mind slip those in.
We'll do the, what,
Yeah, we're letting them-
yeah, I understand.
Yeah, just,
We'll do our best.
Not to waste an hour.
yeah,
Okay,
that's correct.
Thanks, everyone.
all right.
Farm 16 now, please. Farm 16 now, that's motion second.
Thank you.
We're on the record.
All right, we're on the record. Let's go ahead and set forth our appearances. We'll start first with the plaintiff, then we'll move to the defense.
Can I look at the plaintiff?
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Robert Jacob, plaintiff.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Matthew B. Federico for plaintiff. Brianna Switzler for plaintiffs and Teddy Parker for plaintiff.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Eric Sullivan, the plaintiff.
Brad Johnson, Michael Esposito, and Eric Freeman on behalf of the defense.
All right, I guess we're ready to continue. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Nothing outside the presence?
You want to put the two exhibits in? 374, 375?
375 is already in. If you want to.
Yeah, Your Honor, we have a stipulation on the one page. 374 is going to be one page paper.
We're gonna do 274.
Correct. 374-0002 in the fight room or the cup.
All right, you can bring it up.
So admitted.
Admitted.
Thank you. I think that's it, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you, sir.
All rise for the jury.
All All right.
Please proceed. Thank you.
All right, do the parties stipulate to the presence of the jury?
Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. And ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed lunch. Yes. And I guess we're going to continue on, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor. Our plaintiff's next witness is Cheryl Nally.
Please watch your step. Please stand and face Madam Clerk. Raise your right hand.
You do solemnly swear the testimony you are about to give in this action shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help you God?
I do.
May I have you state and spell your name for the record?
Cheryl Nally, CHERYLNALLY.
Thank you.
Please be cautious as you sit in chairs on wheels.
Good afternoon, Cheryl.
Hello.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Cheryl, can you tell the jury where you grew up?
The West Coast primarily. I was born in the state of Washington, born in Tacoma. And then when I was in school, we moved to Southern California. And then when I had my children and they were starting school, we moved to Oregon.
Where do you currently live?
My residence is in Oregon, current residence, but I actually fly back and forth between the Oregon resident of one of my daughters and the Nevada residence of the other one.
You have 2 children?
I have 2 children.
The jury has met Ginger. What
Yes.
about your other daughter?
My other daughter is Lonnie, and she is Lonnie.
Is she in court today?
She is. She has come up to give us some support from Oregon.
Are you currently married?
No, I'm not.
You're retired.
I am retired.
What did you do before retirement?
Social services. I worked with the county in Oregon and did social services for older and disabled adults, including like nursing home placement and foster home care and in-home care and assessing care needs.
Sounds like a rewarding career. Tell the jury a little about yourself. What kinds of things do you like to do, for fun?
Well, I have a little dog right now. He's the second little dog I've had recently. She is, and I like to draw, and I like to paint, and I like to do charcoals, stuff like that.
Let's talk about real water. Let's go back in time to the fall of 2020. Did you receive a phone call that Ginger was sick?
Yes, I did. Sorry, I've got a strap hanging down from my cushion. Sorry.
I know it's hard. Are you comfortable?
I'm trying to be.
Okay, you get the phone call that Ginger's sick. What do you do?
Since I go back and forth anyway, I just immediately fly out here because it was close to when I was coming out anyway.
When you came to help take care of Ginger, did you drink the real water in Ginger's house?
Yes, I did.
Did you drink the real water in Ginger's house when you would come and stay before this time?
Yeah, that's the kind of water they had, so we were all drinking it.
And in the fall of 2020, when you came to take care of Ginger, did you start to feel sick?
Yeah, I did pretty quickly. I don't remember exactly how quickly, but yeah, I started throwing up and having diarrhea as well as other things.
Were you experiencing any mental confusion?
Yes, I was. I was, I'm not sure how to explain it. It was like being in another world, or, not seeing the things the way they were. I was afraid to walk, so I crawled on the floor upstairs to get to and from the bathroom. And yeah.
Did you eventually go to the hospital?
Yes, I did.
What prompted you to go to the hospital?
My kids decided I should go to the hospital.
Why?
Well, I was crawling around. I couldn't stand up. I was sick to my stomach. I was throwing up. I was kind of, out of it. I was saying things I didn't know what I was saying, basically.
Were you delirious?
Yeah, I guess that's a way to describe it.
And so you're taken to the emergency room?
Yes.
And this is at St. Rose Hospital?
Yes. My son-in-law took me to the hospital early in the morning. I think I was crawling through the hallway, trying to talk to them in their bedroom, saying something about something I had read about the vaccines that were coming on for the COVID. Yeah.
Shane, can we pull up Exhibit 372, please? Cheryl, can you tell the jury what this picture shows?
We were in the hospital waiting room, emergency room, from about 6 a.m. to when they finally admitted me at 5 p.m. That's a barf bag. I was very happy that they gave it to me. It made me feel more secure, because I kept having dry heaves and thinking, well, I don't want to throw up here on the floor. That's the cushion I sit on, and I'm putting my head on it in the waiting room.
Can you tell the jury how you're feeling at this point?
I was not feeling any pain. I was feeling, talking. I was blabbing to people as they came in. I was, like it was different circumstances. Like it was, I don't know what I was thinking. I wasn't really thinking.
Did the doctors admit you to the hospital?
Yes, they did.
Did they take you back on a gurney?
Yes, they did.
Let's take a look at your lab work. Shane, can you pull up Exhibit 375, page 4? So this shows your INR is high, your ALTs are high, your ASTs are high, your bilirubin's high. Did doctors discuss these results with you?
Now, is that when I first went in?
Yes, these are from your admission.
Okay, I'm sure they talked to me, but I don't, it wasn't like I was able to understand or comprehend what was going on.
And if we can go to the next page, page 5, Shane. This is your ammonia level of 40. Did your doctors tell you about high ammonia levels?
Not at that time. I mean, maybe they did. I just don't. I wasn't really able to converse with doctors.
This is the height of COVID. Were you allowed any visitors while in the hospital?
No, I was not.
Did that make the experience any easier on you?
No, I mean, that would have been nice to talk to my family members. Of course, they were my daughter was very sick.
Shane, can you pull up page 2 of Exhibit 375? Cheryl, do you recall when you were in the hospital, doctors doing a CT of your abdomen?
I remember a lot of tests, I think they even did a head, a scan of my brain, maybe. Maybe not. It seems to me I remember something like that. And lots of other, scans and stuff.
So this CT scan of your abdomen shows increased echo texture consistent with fatty infiltration. And there's also a 1.5 by 1.6 centimeter simple cyst in the central portion of the liver near the left portal vein. Do you recall doctors discussing these findings with you?
Not really.
Did you drink real water while you were in the hospital?
No. No. I had IVs.
Did your liver function start to improve?
Yes.
And were you eventually discharged from the hospital?
I was getting better, yes.
And Ginger told the jury that essentially you're being discharged and she's going into the hospital. Is that your recollection as well?
Yeah, I called my son-in-law and told him that they're going to discharge me that day at 5, and he said that they were down in the emergency room, he and my daughter, and she was being admitted. So when I was discharged, I walked through the waiting area, the emergency room, whatever, waiting area, and there she was.
Did you see Ginger?
Yeah, I saw her. She was in really bad shape. She was in one of those chairs that you push around, and her head was lolling like this, and I tried to touch her and talk to her, and she didn't respond. It's like she didn't even know I was there.
How were you feeling at this point?
I was scared. I was sick. I was going home. She was sick coming in. And my son-in-law said that he called. Oh, I don't think he called Lonnie yet. It was after I don't remember.
How were you feeling when you were discharged from the hospital?
How was I feeling? Well, I did not have pain. I was probably just confused a little, and I Ubered home because he was there and she was there, and so I took an Uber home. I had to, get myself into the house,
There was no one to take you home because they were in the hospital with Ginger.
Yes.
You said you were still confused after your discharge?
Yes, of course I came home and I was drinking the water again and started getting sick again. I had been feeling better, much better, not throwing up, not having diarrhea. And when I got home, I started getting sick again. I don't remember how long it took, but And then when Chris came home after Ginger got into the hospital, we called Lonnie, or he called Lonnie to come down and take care of us.
After you were out of the hospital and continued to drink real water, were you becoming nauseous again and vomiting?
Yes, I was. Lonnie arrived, within a day or so, and she was taking care of me. And I was, crawling around the floor again, and she was trying to show me how to stop throwing up. She was trying to take small sips and relax, and I can't remember them now, but she had these ways of helping me not to throw up. And then she went and bought Pedialyte, and so I stopped drinking the water and was drinking Pedialyte, and I really think that was so good.
Let's talk about your dog Buckley. Did you bring Buckley with you when you came to Las Vegas to help take care of Ginger?
I did. I brought Buckley with me.
Shane, can we put up demonstrative 4, please? Is this Buckley?
Yeah, that's him.
How old was Buckley in November 2020?
I think he was about 13.
How long had you had him?
He was about 2 years old when I rescued him. So he would have been, I had him, I can't even think of numbers right now, but whatever that difference is.
Did you feed real water to Buckley?
Yes, all the dogs drank from
And-
the water bowl that we used real water on in.
And Ginger spoke a little bit about this, but did Buckley die?
Yes, he, while I was in the hospital, he got really, really sick, and my son-in-law couldn't get him to come into the house, and he hid out in the yard. And so the next day, he let him spend the night out there, and the next day he took him to the vet, and they euthanized him because he was having liver and kidney failure.
Prior to this time, did you observe Buckley having any health problems?
Well, he had been squirted by a skunk before the trip up here, but he was not having any health problems.
You were in the hospital when Buckley died.
Yes.
Can you tell the jury what was Buckley's condition during those final days that you had with him before going into the hospital yourself?
Oh, yeah. So I don't know how many, it was probably like a day or so before I went into the hospital that I couldn't get him to come to me, and I knew I was too sick to pick him up. So he would be there, and I would be outside on the couch swing, in the yard, and he wouldn't come to me, and that was the last time I saw him.
Shane, can we pull up page 6 of Exhibit 375, please? Cheryl, this is a June 15th, 2021 record from Kaiser Permanente. Can you tell the jury what this is?
After I was released from the hospital, they said that I should have liver testing when
So-
I got back to my primary care.
So this would be about 7 months or so after you get out of the hospital,
Yes.
and you're being treated for non-alcoholic fatty liver
Right.
and diarrhea. If we go down to the bottom, it says off and on diarrhea since you were ill in November. Is that your condition?
Yes.
Could we, Shane, go to page 7 of Exhibit 375? Cheryl, this is a April 18th, 2022 record from Kaiser Permanente.
Yes.
Okay. This shows you're seeking treatment for memory loss, follow-up for liver and memory. What were your concerns about your memory?
When I was in the hospital, I was diagnosed with confusion. And so when I went to, so the records were sent to Kaiser so I could then be treated at Kaiser for whatever I needed, because that was my insurance. I didn't have anything local. So,
This
yeah.
record notes that you can no longer multitask like you used to.
Yeah.
Did you have these memory or multitasking problems prior to you getting sick from Real Water in November 2020?
Not that I can recall.
Did they start after your liver damage from Real Water?
Yes.
Okay, and then this is April 2022, so this long after your November 2020 hospitalization, you're still seeking treatment for these effects, correct?
Yes.
And do they continue to persist today?
I don't know about the liver, because I'm hoping that the liver's not doing things. And my memory is, about the same as it was at this time. It hasn't improved, but it hasn't gotten any worse that I know of. I can't tell.
But compared to your pre-liver damage memory and multitasking skills,
Yeah.
those are worse today.
Yes, yes.
And speaking of your liver, you understand that Dr. Hudson's recommendations are to continue to monitor your liver functions because there's a risk that you could have problems in the future related to your liver damage, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And is that something that you intend to do?
I do. I somehow missed getting my blood tested in 2023 and now 2024. So I am definitely in need of, and going to have my, once I go back to Kaiser. Sometimes it's hard to go back and forth and, make sure things get taken care of at both ends.
And you did you meet with Dr. Sands, plaintiff's expert neuropsychologist?
Yes, we had a Zoom session.
And are you familiar with Dr. Sands' recommendations for all the plaintiffs?
Yes, and I guess I haven't really followed through as much as my daughter has, and I just assumed that she was worse and, sort of the higher priority. So.
Do you think that Dr. Sands' recommendations for future psychological and cognitive evaluations and care is something that you would benefit from?
Yeah.
Do you intend to pursue those recommendations?
Yes, I do.
Thank you, Cheryl. Those are all the questions I have.
All right, cross-examination.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, Ms. Nally.
Hello.
I'm Michael Esposito. I'm one of the attorneys for Real Water in this case.
Uh-huh.
And I know you've been sitting in, so this probably won't be a surprise, but what I'd like to do is just go through some testimony that you provided at deposition and
Yes.
just make sure that we're still on the same page. Okay?
Yes, yes.
Now, you recall giving a deposition in this case?
I do. I don't remember exactly when, but I do remember I had to do that.
So if I said November 6th of 2024, would that ring a bell?
Yeah, I mean, not real, I mean, yes. I mean, if I looked at it on paper, I would definitely say yes, but.
Ballpark's good, all right?
Yeah, ballpark.
You remember being under oath?
Yes,
Okay. And you remember that you were represented by counsel at that time?
yes,
And do you remember there being a court reporter?
yes,
And when the deposition was over, do you remember having an opportunity to review the transcript to make sure everything was accurate?
yes.
Did you make any changes to that
I
transcript?
did not.
Okay. Just get that out of the way right in first. So, first and foremost, Ms. Nell, I just want to go through a little bit of the background. You said that you come back and forth between Oregon and Las Vegas fairly regularly, correct?
Yes,
So, you would have been drinking real water for a couple of years before you started feeling symptoms. Would that be accurate?
yeah, yes.
Starting in about 2017?
That's when I started going back and forth to my tube. I had some surgery and I left my home and I went to their homes, and that's the way it's been since my surgery in 2017, so
Sure.
yes.
And just for the record, Ms. Nally, we have no interest in getting into any of your other medical conditions here. So I appreciate you telling me that, but I don't want you to think that we have to go into more detail, okay?
Okay.
Perfect. So what you said that when you were admitted to the hospital, you weren't actually in pain. That's accurate?
Yes,
But there was a state of confusion,
yes.
okay? And you were admitted the morning of November 16th of 2020?
I'd have to look at the records, but that sounds like it, probably
Okay.
right.
Can we pull up Exhibit 374? That would be page 2. Thank you, Robin. And so let's just go up to the top for some foundation. Now, Ms. Nally, do you see where it says admit date 11/16/2020?
Yes,
Okay. And you said you came in the morning. If my recollection's right, it was around 8 o'clock in the morning.
we actually left the house just after 5, so it was
Oh.
probably closer to 6,
Took you a while to get in,
5:36
huh?
a.m. Yeah, it was busy. It was busy.
Las Vegas hospitals. Okay. And so you were discharged on November 18th, so 2 days later.
Yes,
Okay. And I believe, looking at the records that opposing counsel showed you, you had some testing done on the first day on the 16th, correct?
yes, before I went in.
Okay. And you got the results back next day?
Well, see, I was sick, so I would guess they were available.
Fair enough. I just didn't know if that was, the doctor comes back in, it takes some time to process, they talk to you. We're just getting the timeline here.
Yeah.
Okay. And so the following day, Robin, if we can scroll down, this is your discharge summary, Ms. Nally, and I just want to make sure that the medical record is accurate. So if we can go down to plan. And Robin, if we can just blow up that little subsection all the way down through PCP. Perfect. Thank you so much. So let's start at the beginning. Patient evaluated today at bedside. She is hemodynamically stable. Did you talk to your doctor about this on your discharge?
I guess so.
Okay. Do you know what it means?
No.
Okay. Well, let's go to something easier. She reported resolution of her nausea and vomiting and confusion state. Is that accurate?
Certainly was less confused and not nauseous and not vomiting.
Okay. So those symptoms had effectively resolved themselves within that 48-hour period.
Yes.
Okay. And then it says she's feeling well and happy to go home today. Still accurate?
Probably.
You don't necessarily recall?
No, I don't remember saying, I'm well and I'm happy to go home today, but I assume I was happy and feeling better.
Okay. So the next one, her mentation have improved and she is now at baseline. Did you talk about this with your doctor at all?
Probably.
Okay.
It's kind of hard for me to remember back that far.
Of course.
And
I'm just going to ask the question. I don't know, by the way, it's a perfectly acceptable answer. We just want to make sure that we ask, okay?
Okay.
Yeah, no stress. So the next one, I've discussed the case with, and we'll just go to ID Neurology, who recommended no further testing and okay for discharge. Were you aware that the hospital's neurology department had cleared you for discharge with no future testing?
Not really, but Okay.
Okay, but you weren't referred to a neurologist when you were
No,
discharged?
no.
Okay. And then the final patient liver function test now downtrending after IV fluid hydration. And so,
Yes.
and in your experience, would that be consistent with blood tests that you took that you were getting done after the discharge?
Yes.
Okay. Because in fact, you went to the Kaiser Permanente for follow-ups, I want to say 3 times after you were discharged, and you went back up to Oregon, correct? Okay. So when you were in Oregon, during those subsequent visits, isn't it true that your doctors in Kaiser told you that everything with your liver was normal?
That my liver was functioning normally, yes.
Okay. And you took that to mean that everything was good with your health?
Everything, when you say everything, I don't understand.
That was a bad question. Let me ask it a different way.
Okay.
With regards to all of the symptoms that you'd felt as a result of drinking raw water, you were given effectively a clean bill of health from your doctors in Kaiser, correct?
In regards to liver function being normal, yes.
Okay. And so that would, I believe the other issue that you talked about with opposing counsel was cognitive functioning, correct? Okay. And you did talk to Dr. Sands about his findings in that regard.
Yes.
So were you here when Dr. Sands actually testified? And I apologize, I don't remember.
Yeah, I saw some of it on video and some of it in person, and I'm not sure which was which. I'd have to look at when I was here on that.
Sure. And so I have the transcript. I just want to give a couple of things that he
Sure.
said and see if you agree. Okay.
Okay.
So when asked, how about Cheryl Nally? Post-traumatic stress symptoms present, but not crossing a threshold, so it's within normal limits. So are you aware that your diagnosis for PTSD was negative? That you weren't diagnosed with PTSD?
Correct.
Okay. And then cognitive impairment, and this is what we were getting to. Dr. Sands testified normal across all domains compared to others her age. You're familiar with that diagnosis?
I do remember him saying that.
Okay. And also personality saying, generally I'm okay. There's nothing elevated beyond that should be of concern for my personality. So if we can pull up 1206, because that's kind of that's confusing testimony, right?
Yeah. Who was that from?
Dr. Sands.
Oh, okay.
But let me help you. We're going
Yes.
to pull up. Do you remember seeing this chart?
Not
And Robin,
really.
if we can clue in on Miss Nally, that would be great. Does that make it easier to read, Miss Nally?
Fine. Yeah. I mean, I could read it before, but
Oh, okay, perfect. So let's take, so PTSD within normal limits, cognitive impairment within normal limits. We've talked about that, correct?
yes.
And then Dr. Sands has given you a clean bill of health as to the variety of different potential personality problems as well, correct?
Evidently.
Okay. And overall, this is great news, isn't it?
It is.
Okay. So with regard, oh, I'm sorry, I
I'm
didn't
sorry, quite finish. When
Yeah.
you say great news, yes, this is good news. Okay. I'm just wanting to make sure I understand what you're asking.
Yeah, and we're just talking about your condition now.
Yes, I am within normal limits is where I want to be.
And do you recall a deposition being asked if you were seeking awards of damages for psychological or emotional injury?
Say that again.
Do you recall testifying that you were not seeking damages for psychological or emotional injury at deposition?
We can approach.
Yeah, I don't, sorry.
I can still understand her point of view on this.
So should we ask the question differently?
I'm going directly off of how the question was asked at the deposition, Your Honor, but I can, you know what, I do have an alternative. Excuse me,
you
I'm
see
going
what
to
I'm
raise my
saying,
voice.
right?
Yeah, I got an alternative way I can address this.
Okay.
So we'll just move on.
Okay.
Easy enough.
All right. Thank you, counsel.
Of course. Ms. Now, let me ask that a different way.
Sorry, go ahead.
Let me know when you're good.
I'm good.
Okay. How many visits have you made to a psychiatrist or a psychologist since you were discharged?
None that I can think of.
Okay. And so for the past 5 years, you've elected not to go seek psychological or psychiatric help?
Yeah, I guess that's true. I guess I was really more focusing on my kid,
Sure.
you know.
And you were retired at the time, right? So there's no loss of earning capacity here?
No.
Fair enough. Okay. You haven't had a liver transplant,
No, I have not.
and no doctors recommended that you'll need one?
No.
Okay. You haven't had any surgeries as a result of drinking real water?
No.
Okay. You haven't had any routine monitoring done beyond the blood tests that you had done at Kaiser, let's just say Kaiser.
Right.
No routine monitoring outside of those 3 visits to Kaiser, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And those routine visits came back with normal liver enzymes and normal liver functioning?
Correct.
Okay. No doctor has told you, aside from the retained experts in this case, that you'll need additional medical treatment going forward, correct?
Not in regards to liver function
course.
stuff, I guess. I mean, if that's what you're at.
Yeah, because again, we're not trying to get into your other medical conditions, so
okay.
Just focusing on real water.
Yeah,
Yes.
I know.
So getting back to the question, just to make sure we're clear,
Okay.
as it pertains to any of the symptoms you felt with real water, none of your treating physicians have recommended any additional treatment or care, correct?
No.
Okay.
I mean, correct.
Ms. Nellie, you did great. Thank you so much. That's all the questions that I have.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sir, be direct.
One follow-up, Your Honor. Cheryl? One follow-up real quick.
Sorry, I should have waited on. Okay.
You were asked about whether any of your treating physicians have recommended any more follow-up. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Have you discussed with any of your treating physicians that your liver failure was caused by consuming hydrazine or rocket fuel in real water?
No, I didn't really realize that.
So even though your treating physicians haven't recommended any follow-up care, none of them know that you consumed rocket fuel and that's why you had liver failure.
Yeah, that's true.
Thank you, Cheryl.
One question. Ms. Nally, when did you find out that your conditions may be related to the consumption of hydrazine?
You know, I've been leaving that all to my kids. So I don't know when that first became known. I suppose we stopped drinking it at a certain time in 2021, and I think as time went on, there was a lot of information, and I didn't really pay close attention to it.
Fair to say several years. This lawsuit's been going on for several
Yes,
years, right?
several years.
And you've seen doctors in the several years that this lawsuit's been going on?
Yes, I have.
Okay, so you just felt it wasn't necessarily important to inform them about this particular...
I didn't even think about it, to be honest.
Okay, and that's perfectly fine. I just wanted to get the clarification. Thank you, Ms. Nell.
You're welcome.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir. Anything else?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Okay, ma'am, you may step down.
Thank you.
Somebody help her. Wait, do you have a question? You here? No question. Make sure she has help.
Yes, Your Honor, I'm on the way.
Stop right there. We want to make sure you.
Just want to make sure you
Oh.
get down safely, ma'am, that's all. Yeah, please.
Us old folk
Oh,
need
yeah.
an extra hand. My pants
We're
are
all getting
sticking.
there. We're all getting there.
Thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am, thank you.